Malware on the Mac. Jim gets his songs back. And is that a charger in your pocket? Tech News Tonight is next.
This is Twit.
This is Tech News Tonight, episode 395 for Tuesday, August 4th, 2015. This episode of Tech News Tonight is brought to you by Casper, an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the price, because everyone deserves a great night's sleep. Get $50 off any mattress purchase by visiting casper.com/TN2 and enter the promo code TN2. Let's get to today's big news. Ars Technica reports that hackers are exploiting a zero-day flaw that allows root access to Mac systems. You heard that right. Mac systems running fully patched versions of OS X Yosemite, not Windows. Macs, just to be clear. The proof of concept was revealed last week by security researchers, and now it's been seen in the wild. The hole allows hackers to inject adware and malware onto a target Mac without requiring system passwords. Until Apple fixes the bugs, Ars Technica says Mac users don't have any good options for a fix. In other Apple news, shares of the company fell again today in what experts are calling a correction. The stock is down about $20 from a record $135. MarketWatch says Apple's price will fall even further as analysts incorporate the bad news into their analysis and lower their target prices. And in even more Apple news, although this is good news, here's an update to the interview we did with Jim Dalrymple from Loop Insight about how Apple Music had lost 4,700 of his songs. Dalrymple writes in his blog that he was invited to Apple and he did get his music back, or most of it. Although all of us are unlikely to be invited to Apple for music tech support, Dalrymple does say that Apple is aware of the problem and is working on a fix. Today was White House Demo Day. President Obama invited entrepreneurs and innovators to Washington to show off their projects. This morning on Tech News Today, Mike Elgin told you about Anil Dash and Twit host Gina Trapani. They were launching their new project called MakerBase. MakerBase is a directory of tech projects and their creators. Would you pay $189 for a pair of jeans? What if they could charge your smartphone? Mashable reports that the hashtag #HelloSkinny from Joe's Jeans features a custom battery pack and a patent-pending pocket that perfectly holds your iPhone, as long as it's an iPhone 6, 5, 5S, or 5C. If you've got an iPhone 6 Plus, you are out of luck. Also, batteries are not included. That'll cost you an extra $50. The USB connector comes with it, though. Coming up, malware everywhere, and what is the look of an engineer? But first, this episode of Tech News Tonight is brought to you by Casper. Casper is an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the cost. Casper is revolutionizing the mattress industry by cutting the cost of dealing with resellers and showrooms and passing that savings directly to the consumer. Here are some benefits of Casper. Casper's mattress is an obsessively engineered mattress, and there's a fair price. Two technologies, latex and memory foam, come together for better nights and brighter days. It's a comfortable mattress that has just the right sink and bounce. I know because I sleep on one every single night. No lie. A Casper mattress provides long-lasting comfort and support, and you can buy it easily online, and you can even try it out without a commitment. Casper offers a free delivery and painless returns with a 100-day period, so you don't have to lie down in a showroom. And I don't know if you knew this, but statistically, lying on a bed in a showroom has no correlation to whether this is the right bed for you. Casper's mattresses are made in the USA. You can get a Casper mattress $500 for a twin, $950 for a king size. Compared to industry averages, that is an outstanding price. And you can save an additional $50 as one of our audience members by going to casper.com/TN2. Just enter the promo code TN2. That's casper.com/TN2 and promo code TN2. Ruth Reeder is joining me today. Ruth is a writer at VentureBeat. Welcome back to the show.
Hi.
So you have a story this week about malware advertising that's affected 1.3 million people, and you say it's on the rise. Hackers have been buying up ads on real-time bidding platforms and infecting vulnerable computers. You write that these hackers even have a way of knowing if your computer is vulnerable. Tell us about how they do that.
So basically, how this even is able to be a thing is there's an exploit kit called Rig 3.0. It was discovered by TrustWave. And essentially what hackers do is they purchase this exploit kit. It's a service, and they embed it into a piece of advertising. So, they can create an ad on any sort of like real-time bidding platform. So they embed this service, and then when you are served an ad, they can tell whether or not your computer is vulnerable. And that means that you haven't updated software mostly. And that can be any sort of software. That can be sort of your browser. That can be Silverlight. So there's a lot of different things. And this service will tell them that you are vulnerable, and then from there, they'll launch a Trojan onto your computer.
So do I have to click on the ad to get this Trojan?
No.
So I don't have to do anything?
You don't have to do anything.
Except not do my updates.
Except not update your computer. That's it.
Wow.
But so it's interesting because I think roughly 3.5 million people were served these ads, but only 1.5 million were infected. So that means that most people do keep their computers up to date. And there are ways to sort of prevent this from happening too. One of those ways is obviously keeping your software up to date. Another is if you enable click to play in your browser, that means that ads can only start playing if you click to play them. That will also prevent Trojans from automatically being downloaded to your computer.
So what kind of damage are these viruses doing to computers, or are they just using those vulnerable computers as bots, or what happens if I have this virus?
I mean, it can be anything. It can be anything from like ransomware to any number of attacks. It really depends on what the hacker is after. So like if they want to like launch something so that they're stealing information off your computer, they can do that. Ransomware is something where they'll basically encrypt all of your files and then charge you money to decrypt them.
So now they come through ads. So are they actually buying ads? These hackers spending money on them?
Yeah, they can actually buy ads because with real-time bidding platforms, essentially there's not a whole lot in the way of checking who's buying these ads. And so it's pretty easy for them to come off as a legitimate advertiser.
So there's so many ads. There's so much of this marketplace is so big that it would be impossible for the ad companies to be able to really have the technology to tell the difference between what a hacker and a real advertiser?
I don't know if the technology doesn't exist or if it's like such a big problem. I just know that basically they're not really able to tell. And whether that's a matter of like resources or if it's just not a priority, I'm not sure.
So the general guidance in the past used to be to only visit websites that you trust. And that was all I always wondered about that, because how do you know if you can trust a website? But what you're saying is these malicious ads, they come in ads, so they could be on any site.
Totally. I mean, it just depends on where that site sources their advertisements.
So we don't have, it's like people would be able to avoid certain sites where that there would be lots of pop-up ads, but that we can't do that anymore.
No, we really just need to keep our software up to date.
So where does this 1.3 million, for 3 million people infected, where do those numbers come from?
So that came from a company called TrustWave, which conducted this study and discovered this exploit kit. And this was a part of Black Hat.
So yesterday, the New York Times reported that Yahoo's ad network was also spitting out malicious ads. Is this the same thing?
Different, I think. But the thing is, advertising malware is really on the rise. So it's not just a matter of exploit kits. There are a whole bunch of ways that ads are being exploited, because in the past, there really hasn't been a way to prevent them from happening. It just, again, hasn't been either a priority or it's just too difficult. The technology isn't in place to prevent this sort of thing. And also the other thing is that antivirus software is used to letting adware sort of pass under its radar, right? So it's not looking for it. And if it finds it, it typically gives it a pass. And so hackers know this and they're exploiting that.
So keep your updates, keep your system update, and don't turn on automatic play on your ads.
That's right.
Okay. So I also wanted to talk to you about this new campaign, I guess, that's heating up on social media. No one's behind it, I don't think, except for people who care. It's I look like an engineer, hashtag I look like an engineer. It started with an ad campaign featuring a woman named Isis Nkali. I think I might be pronouncing her name right. She's a female engineer. Now, people didn't really believe that she was really an engineer. Her picture was in bus stations in the Muni station, and it was to recruit engineers. They were looking at it right now. No, she got a lot of attention, and then she wrote this post on Medium. She said she never really wanted the attention, but now that she has it, she's using it to highlight gender issues. What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Oh God, where do I start? I mean, the whole reason it blew up, and what is probably most disconcerting, is because some largely male social media posters noted that this isn't really what a female engineer looks like, or this isn't really what a software engineer looks like, which is obviously completely and atrociously wrong thing to say and offensive. And part of the reason why we're not seeing as many women in tech is because we have all these ideas about what they should look like, what they don't look like. And so the hashtag started out of that. I think it's great personally that she started up this hashtag, and women have totally gravitated towards it, which is also another wonderful thing. And I think it really does a good job of bringing attention to the fact that not only are, I think it's very easy for the tech community to say that, women, the lack of women in the tech industry is because of a pipeline issue, right? We don't have enough women in engineering programs. We don't have enough women who want to code. And that's really an easy out for a very big problem, which is, a huge lack of women in a specific industry. And really what this is saying is it's not that, there's a pipeline issue. Here we are, we exist, right? It's really more of a matter of not feeling like we are accepted in this community, and not feeling like, there's no stereotype for us, right? There's no stereotype of like, regular, attractive women in tech as software engineers. And so I think it's great that she drew attention to this and was willing to. It's funny because she says that she's not usually like an outspoken person, but she felt a need to speak out on this.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting, and I agree with what you said. I mean, we work by models. Like that's how our brains work. That's how people work. If someone, we want to see people that look like us, and it's difficult for women in tech because there just aren't that many that you see that much. So this is great. All you have to do is click on the hashtag I look like an engineer and see that there are people that look like all kinds of different people. There's Isis, the woman that started this campaign, which I'm very impressed with. So check that out on Twitter. Now, you also just posted a story about Netflix that is super interesting. They just announced they'll give workers a full year of paid maternity and paternity leave. This sounds too good to be true.
I don't think it is. Virgin did something very similar recently, and I think it blew the tech industry out of the water because, I think most places it's sort of like 4 or 5 months or something, which is still a lot. I mean, the tech industry has done pretty well on maternity and paternity leave. Because, they want to create, it's all about having a competitive offering for your employees. You want to attract the top talent. You have to have, competitive maternity and paternity leave programs, among other things, obviously. So, Netflix is hot on the rise. Their stock is going up. They're performing well. They're looking for good talent. And I think this is just another way that they're trying to appeal to a very to appeal to engineers and other people that they're after. Don't go work at Google, come work for us, sort of thing.
Right. Well, it's definitely a great incentive. Thank you so much for joining us today. Ruth Reeder is a writer at VentureBeat, and you can follow her on Twitter at Ruth Reeder. Thanks for coming on. Take care. And finally tonight, here is the gadget we have all been waiting for. It's a watch with an Apple Watch on it. The Nico Girard Pinnacle is for the man or woman with affinity for discerning tastes who also wants the technology that respects you to the core of your being. I didn't make that up. That's their ad copy. In other words, a watch with an Apple Watch on it. This $9,300 item can be yours as long as you are willing to put down a $200 deposit for it and then pay the $9,300. Just to be clear, if you're listening to the audio version of the show, the Pinnacle is a Swiss watch on the front and an Apple Watch on the other side of the band. Would you buy this? I am definitely interested in knowing who you are, if you would. And that is it for this edition of Tech News Tonight. We are on Facebook. You can find us. Just search for Tech News Tonight with the number 2. If you want to be part of the conversation, post a comment on the stories we post. We'll read the best ones right here on the show. You can also follow us on Twitter. We are at Tech News Tonight, again with the number 2. And you can follow me. I am at Megan Maroney. You can also subscribe to the show at twit.tv/TN2 or write to us at tn2@twit.tv or megan@twit.tv and watch live every weekday at 4 p.m. Pacific. And don't miss our morning news program, Tech News Today, every weekday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I am Megan Maroney. Thanks for watching.
Bandwidth for Tech News Tonight is brought to you by CashFly.com.